Good evening, good evening, good evening. My name is Richard Lewis Brown. Today is January 12th, 2022. Hopefully everyone's having a good start to your new year. Here at Local 1000 listens to you. And so, as you know, in December we sent out a second Telework survey. And so we're going to talk about this because we're trying to get this Telework agreement with the state of California. And I know a lot of people have said, what's taking so long? Why not just accept what the state wants to give us? Well, the reason why we're not just going to accept what the state wants to give us is because we're a union. And as a union, we negotiate in good faith with the state of California on contracts, and in this case, a side letter agreement. Because currently we're under contract to June 30th, 2022. I'm sorry, June 30th, 2023. All right. So, as you can see here, telework negotiations update, survey results, and next steps. All right. So this presentation is an update on the telework negotiations, a review of the telework survey that we first did in August of 2021, bargaining timeline and proposal summary, a review of the telework survey results from December of 2021, and our next steps. And also this presentation, PowerPoint presentation, is up on our website along with our other PowerPoint presentations from the past. All right. Telework Policy Negotiations team, myself, the vice presidents, the bargaining unit chairs, and selected represented employees from CDPH and DGS. That's California Department of Public Health and the Department of General Services. All right. Local 1000 in the state has been meeting to bargain over the implementation of a statewide telework policy that would apply to all Local 1000 represented employees. Not just some, but all. And the state, unfortunately, the state has made little movement from its initial position. So we remain substantially apart on several key bargaining demands, including the telework stipend. So, with that being said, let's get started here. And let's see. The August Telework Survey. So some of you may have forgotten that we did a telework survey in August. And hold on one second, please. You can't see the screen. Gotcha. Okay. All right. So we did a telework survey in August, and we're going to review that. And as you can see here, 4,492 employees provided feedback in August. Our number for the one in December was a little bit smaller. All right. August Telework Survey. Yes, 3,479 people were working from home. No, 677 of the people that responded of the 4,156. August, are you currently teleworking under the 2020 Emergency Telework Policy? Key word is emergency because we're trying to get a permanent telework policy. So 2,459 said yes. Only 132 said no. About 884 said not sure out of the 3,475 that responded. So a big percentage of this, we're doing emergency telework. Now, when did you begin teleworking? After March 20th or March 2020? 2,935. Before March, only 454. So the pandemic really started and it became widespread in March of 2020. August Telework Survey again. Does your department have a formal telework policy? And as you can see here, 1,993 said yes, my department has a formal telework policy. But almost 1,762 said not sure. And 972 said no. And that was out of the 4,477 people who answered on this particular question. All right, now, August Telework survey again. Does the department you work for permit employees to telework? 2,316 said yes. But that was some employees. All employees, are they eligible to telework? Only 1,707, and then 300 said no employees are permitted to telework. All right. So it shows you that all employees only had 1,707 versus some employees, that number was much greater at 2,316. How many days of the week do you telework? This was in the August Telework survey. 2,423 people said all 5 days. That was in the August Telework survey. Now, only 641 said 3 to 4 days, and 1 to 2 days was 406. All right. August Telework survey. Does the department you work for provide reimbursement or an allowance for costs? Now listen to this. 396 people, only almost 400 people said yes, my department gives me reimbursement for an allowance for the cost for teleworking. But over 4,000 said no. No reimbursement, no allowance for the cost associated with teleworking while you're working for the state of California. Did you apply to telework and were you told no by your supervisor or manager? 263 said they were told no. No, I'm sorry. Did you apply to telework and were you told no by your supervisor? Yes, 263 people said yes, they were told no. 410 said no, they were not told no. And that was, but only 673 people answered this particular survey question. Okay. Have you been able to productively and efficiently complete your assignments? Now, this is critical. 3,370 people said while they were teleworking, they were able to get their work done. We know that because our economy never lost a step. The fourth largest economy on earth, the California state economy. Only 96 said they couldn't get their work done. But 3,370 said they could, and that's fantastic. The biggest administrative roadblock to the successful implementation of teleworking in your department was top directors and executive management. That's what it was. Now, mid-level, the number was 1,339. Other was 823. Elected political leaders, 378. So you can really see that management was the problem with telework, because they have to approve it. So, what do you believe is the biggest obstacle for you related to successful telework? Biggest obstacle? Eligibility. Then came management, and then a close third, reimbursement of telework costs. So these top three, and then infrastructure. But these top three, who is eligible, management, and the cost? Those were the big issues. And then everything else was a lot smaller, going down, of the 3,045 people who responded to this survey question. All right. Now, the August survey helped us organize in our efforts to get a permanent telework agreement with the state of California. Now, we say that the state must commit the necessary resources to invest in all of our represented employees. We believe that strongly. We have repeatedly, in good faith, told the state that there needs to be a major breakthrough, key word, a major breakthrough on a deep investment in enforceable telework policies for everyone. Because right now, our current contract does not fully address the complexities of a permanent, keyword, permanent and equitable telework agreement for everyone represented by Local 1000. Now I'm going to go back in time for a second. Timeline. We first started talking about telework on September 11th, 2020. Back on September 11th, 2020, that's when we first received the notice of a statewide telework policy. And then it wasn't until October 14th, 2021, we started doing a telework bargaining session. Now, what took so long? No one's for sure. But as you can see, from October up through November 9th, we were in constant bargaining for a side letter agreement for permanent telework for all of our represented employees for Local 1000. And here's the key thing. The fourth telework bargaining session, November 9th. Listen to this. The state of California passes a conceptual proposal. What the heck does that mean? It means it's not real. It's conceptual. You kind of, we can conceive or we can pretend that this is a proposal, but it's not really a proposal. It's conceptual. It's like we can pretend that we're going out to outer space, but we're not really going to outer space. But we can think in our minds that we're going to outer space on a, Virgin spacecraft or whatever. And that's when they did their conceptual proposal that we decided to do something real, something tangible, something you can measure. So we decided to go to a second time to survey our members. Local 1000 listens to you, and not just on Wednesday nights at 6:30 or on Tuesdays. Local 1000 speak on it. We did another survey. We asked these two questions because we remain substantially apart. Telework stipend eligibility. Who gets the telework stipend? And then the amount of the telework stipend. So the state's initial proposal would be, the state wanted it to be based on the remote center or office center. So here's the definition. Remote center for a teleworker who works 50% or more of their time from an alternate workstation. Teleworker utilizes a dedicated workstation at home or a shared workspace in the office. Shared workspace. Many of you are now sharing cubicles with other people. Or office-centered, for a teleworker who works more than 50% of their time from the office. Teleworker utilizes a dedicated workstation at the office and their own equipment or department-provided equipment. So a person office-centered means you work there more than 50% of your time and you have your own cubicle or office. So the state tried to divide us up, separate us. And then, here's what we said, Local 1000. No distinction will be made between remote or office-centered employees because we believe all employees, listen to this, we believe and we know, we just don't believe it, we know it to be a fact. All employees should be treated equally and thereby receive the same stipend amount. The union's current proposal would allow all employees to receive the same telework stipend if they have an approved telework agreement on file with their department, regardless of the amount of time spent teleworking. We want everyone to be treated the same. We want to stop the division. So we already had 10 different bargaining units, over 730 different job classifications. That causes confusion. We don't want to be confused when it comes to telework. We want to treat everyone with equal respect and dignity. Why is that? Because we know sometimes the lower end job classifications will be told they have to come to work. And the ones on the higher end will be told they can work from home. And so that's going to cause problems and dissension. So we want everyone to receive the same amount of money, whether they work from home or they go to the office. And I know a lot of people will make arguments on both sides. I respect the arguments. Now, the stipend money. As you can see, the state, the 14th, the 15th, the 26th of October, and November 9th. What do you see here? They have not budged on the money. It appears, possibly, maybe, that they haven't negotiated in good faith. They have not moved off this money. We started at $150 for all on October 14th. Then we went to $100 for all on October 15th. And then guess what we did? We didn't buckle. They didn't move. We didn't move. So if they want to dig their heels in the sand and say, hey, we're not moving off this money, well, we're not moving off this money either. So I guess you can say we're fighting the state of California over the best telework agreement we can get. We didn't just accept what the other unions took. See, the state of California gave the 50 and 25 to the other unions, and they just took it. Did they even negotiate it? I don't know. All right. And as you can see here, the state has never changed their initial monetary proposal, $50 for remote centered and $25 for office centered. I was getting ready to say this. The state has indicated that, let me say this for you again. The state has indicated that normal tax withholdings would be taken from any telework stipend, regardless of the amount agreed upon in a separate check. You're going to get taxed on that money. You're going to get taxed on that $50 or $25. Whether it's in your, I believe they were saying it's going to put it in a separate check. And they're saying in a separate check. That's exactly what they said. Now, the state indicated it would be open to the concept of paying a single stipend amount to all teleworking employees. However, it would be closer to $25 for everyone. $25 for everyone. So, when we say $100 for everyone, they came back and said, okay, we'll treat you all the same, but that amount will be close to $25. I think that's disrespectful. In fact, I know that's disrespectful. So in December, we re-engage our representative employees to determine their priorities given on what has happened so far, which is telework side letter agreement that we're trying to get. So this time, we had 3 short questions. 2,443 people of our representative employees responded. It's the holiday season. So it's less than that 4,492 people. Okay, that was done in August. So this was our second survey, because we wanted to make sure that we were listening to you. And this is what we did. This is what we came up with. Do you believe all Local 1000 representative employees who are teleworking, regardless of whether they are office-centered or remote-centered, should receive the same telework stipend amount? 1,620 people said yes. No, 549, not sure, 274. 66% of the people said pay the same amount of money that responded to this survey question. Now, we sent out this email to over close to 55,000 representative employees. Now, that's huge, because it validated what we were negotiating, to pay everyone the same amount of money, whether they're office-centered or remote-centered. So this survey validated this idea, this question right here. And, if you rounded this to 550 for the no's, times it by 2, it still wouldn't be as big as this 1620. So it tells you 60, almost 70%. 7 out of 10 said pay the equal amount of money. And I think that's fantastic. Now, second question. Do you believe the bargaining team should accept the state's offer to make payments of $50 for remote-centered employees and $25 for office-centered employees now? Or should we bargain for more? Let me read this to you a second time. Do you believe the bargaining team should accept the state's offer to make payments of $50 for remote-centered employees and $25 for office-centered employees now? Or should we bargain for more? Accept the state's offer, $525. Bargain for more, $1,684. Let's go back for a second. Pay the same amount of money, $1,620. Those who said no, $549. So we come over here, that $549 dropped down a little bit about accept the state's offer. But $1,684 said bargain for more money. We see that $1,620 show up here about pay the same amount of money to everyone equally. So that number $1,620 here increased here. Bargain for more money. Bargain for more money. All right. So that's almost 70%. So it appears by this survey that 7 out of 10 people in our union are saying, fight for more money. Keep fighting, Richard. That's what they're saying. Last question. Do you believe the state must provide a financial justification versus simply claiming operational needs for denying an employee telework? 1,822 said yes. Now look at this. 229 said no. 375, well, I don't know. Let's go back for a second. This is our biggest number on the survey of the 3 questions. This one came in and said, make them prove it. 1822. 1684 said bargain for more. And 1620 said pay us all the same amount of money. 1822. You see that increased. That increased. Now 375 people said they weren't sure. Okay. But 75% said the state must prove that they have to deny you your telework. The financial justification. Show us the money. Show us where you're actually losing money by me working from home. Show me. And you and I both know the state of California cannot show you a financial justification from working you at home all this time. Listen to this. We went on that telework March of 2020. We ran through the year just fine. 2021, we ran through the year just fine. They can't show you this. They can't show you the financial justification. We didn't lose a step, California. Local 1000. And these people know that. 1,822 of them. They know it. All right. The next steps. We've heard from you. Now we're still trying to work with the state. And it's possible that we may reach an impasse. Now, although we may go to mediation, the state is well within its rights to say, you know what? This is it. This is all that we're going to, quote, give you. Now listen to this. Listen to how I said this. These words. The state could say, 50 and 25, take it or leave it. $50 for remote, 25 for office centered. Take it or leave it. Or take something closer to $25 for everyone equally. Is that how you truly bargain in good faith? I don't think so. I don't think so. Now, we're still under contract to June 30th, 2023. A lot of people think that our contract's ending this year. It's not. It's not. So, we're going to continue to work with the state of California. It appears, quote, this does not respect our service during this pandemic. The $50 and the $25. You know what? It doesn't respect your service. The stipend cannot currently be paid until an agreement is reached, and there is a possibility that it will not be retroactive. That's true. Any side letter agreement reached can be renegotiated when we enter a full contract bargaining in 2023. All right. Now, I'm going to sit down for a second. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to share this with you, and then I'll open up for questions. We are attempting to get the best possible telework agreement with the state of California. We have negotiated in good faith. It appears that the state of California is determined to pay only $50 for remote and $25 for office center, or just pay $25 to everyone equally, close to $25. Here's the problem. It's wrong. It's clearly wrong. You know, on the 10th of January, here's a news article from the SAC-B. You know we love the SAC-B. California is swimming in money. How will Gavin Newsom spend California's budget surplus? It looks like it was updated on January 8th. Okay. For a second year in a row, California's budget is poised to avoid economic fallout from the coronavirus pandemic, leaving Governor Gavin Newsom with a good problem. Listen to this, a good problem. I like that word, a good problem. Like getting some good trouble. Rest in peace. All right, how to spend a projected $31 billion surplus. Let me say it for you again. $31 billion. And they're talking about giving you $50 and $25. Listen to how I said that. Give you. See, they thought they could just give you whatever they wanted, the state of California. That's what they thought. But we're a union. We're going to negotiate that money. And if they feel that they have to implement their last and best and final offer of $50 and $25, if that's how they feel about you, then okay, we understand. Because they don't have to do anything with us. We are under contract. They don't have to do a side letter agreement with us. Even though the prior side letter said that they would try to address this, they don't have to do anything. We're under contract. They could say, Local 1000, honor your contract. Listen to this. The state of California could say, you know what? We're done talking to you about $50 and $25. Take the money or don't take the money. Or we could just, say, forget it. Honor your contract. They could say that to us. Honor your contract. Why do I say that? You know why I say that? Because I'm smart. I'm not stupid. Notice how they could say, honor your contract. Did they honor your contract when they asked us to give up 2 days of pay? Under a signed contract? Did they? So I have another paper in front of me. We're putting together our essential worker premium pay petitions. We're printing them all out, and we're going to meet with the governor, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. Do you know that 2 days of pay that we lost for all 100,000 represented employees of Local 1000, that came to almost, I think it's 856 million. 2 days of pay for one fiscal period for 100,000 represented employees cost 856 million rounded. 856 million rounded for 2 days. And they got 31 billion in surplus for fiscal year 22-23. And then it says here, Newsom has said he wants to use most of the extra money for one-time spending on areas including budget reserves, pension debt, and the social safety net. He has also suggested more stimulus checks could be on the table. Could. Not will, not shall, could. Suggested. $31 billion, and they're talking about paying you $50 and $25 for a telework stipend. And no mention of your essential worker premium pay for putting your lives on the line. Whether you went to work or you stayed at home and kept the fourth largest economy on earth going during this pandemic. But California is swimming in money. I'm willing to bet that many of our Local 1000 represented employees are swimming in financial stress and depression. And I wouldn't say swimming, I would say drowning. How many of you live paycheck to paycheck? How many of you are having to shop at Walmart because your wages are not right? How many of you are sleeping in your cars? They say that politics matters. It matters for those who benefit from politics. It doesn't matter for those who are being used by politics as pawns, as peasants. That's the real truth behind politics. Politics matters when it pays off for you. And what I'm trying to figure out is, when has politics ever paid off for Local 1000? When has our union ever fought for you and encouraged you and inspired you to go above and beyond because you knew your union had your back? Many of you are upset about this COVID situation right now. The pandemic, the increase in it. You know, we have filed unfair practice charges, or quote ULPs, over and over and over again. They're up on our website. Fighting with CalHR, fighting with CDCR on a multitude of issues, including currently the N95. We've been fighting with headquarters DMV, and it seems like the fight never ends. And sometimes you feel like giving up. We're not giving up here at Local 1000. We're not giving up, and we're not giving in. We're a union, and we're going to keep fighting for you, and we may not be able to fight the way you want us to fight. We may not give you the best results that you always need, but I want you to know here at Local 1000, we are fighting for you. And even though everyone didn't have to be vaccinated, because that was a pandemic fight, an agreement we reached with CalHR, so you wouldn't have to be vaccinated, mandatory vaccinated for those outside of CDCR, those who are non-healthcare workers. Remember that success that we won? That successful agreement? Did you forget? But that took a lot of work, a lot of dedication, a lot of perseverance, determination. It takes determination to win in this country called America. This is the greatest country, in my opinion, but we have some great character flaws in our foundation. So that's why it takes determination, the ability to inspire others so they don't give up. And that's why I'm here. And even though I may not talk about all the things that Local 1000 is doing right now, in fact, let me say this, and then I'm going to take these questions. Oftentimes our MRC reps, they get screamed at, they get yelled at, they get cursed at. They're told that they're never quite good enough. Let me tell Barbara Engel, Jamie Long, Nebana Slajak, Anna Villa, and David Williams, along with Misty England and Jenny Tyler. You're more than good enough. You're doing an outstanding job. And even though sometimes our state representative employees call you and they just say all those mean and hateful things to you, your life matters. The job, the service you provide to this union is invaluable. You are our frontline responders. Oh, yes, you are. Before they can even get to the URC, they have to go through the MRC. And we want to thank you for the job that you do. Because sometimes you go unrecognized. Barbara, Jamie, Nebana, Anna, David, Misty, Jenny, and who? Bev. And of course, Bev, and Leslie, and Tracy. We want to thank you for everything you've done. All right, enough talking. First caller, DLC President 772, Mary Dela Cruz.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Oh, loud and clear.
Well, thank you for taking my call. First of all, I want to tell you how much I appreciate you as a leader, as our DLC president. Know that 772 supports you. We stand behind you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Wanted to speak in regards to the telework policy. I do know that there are some classifications, some, units that currently are receiving telework. And I've had members ask, why are some and not all currently receiving the telework stipend or whatever you want to call it? And that, so I'm asking this question of you.
So I'm glad you called, Mary, to ask that. Every agency can decide how they want to do their own telework policy. So when we're trying to get a permanent telework policy that can be applied to all the agencies equally, that's why it's so important. And some agencies, they are paying out a stipend already. So every agency is kind of doing their own thing. And we're trying to bring uniformity to this situation. But you know how difficult this is. This is a real challenge. But we're going to stay steadfast. We're going to stay committed. And as that first survey and that second survey has indicated, people don't want to settle for $50 and $25. People are tired of settling. If you're in a union, you should be getting results because you're paying your money for results. And that's going to help drive up our membership by getting better results for our people. All right. Oh, before I go to the next caller, someone texted me. They said, you didn't mention Georgina. So let me mention Georgina in our purchasing department. She does an outstanding job. She's the only person in the union that does her job. She doesn't have a backup right now. Sounds like a staffing issue. But she does an outstanding job. All right, next caller, Mario.
Can you hear me?
Oh, loud and clear, Mario.
Well, Richard, I must say I'm quite impressed with your negotiations because when I first saw that stipend dividing office-centered and remote-centered, I go, wow, this could be a way for managers to pit one employee against another employee. I did not like it. It wasn't as much about the money, but about dividing people. and I didn't like that at all. So I'm glad you see that, and I also want to say I support you, because I look at this union contract, and I'll be quite frank, Richard. We were dealt a bad hand on it. I don't want to go any further on that, because
Right.
you're trying to. Let's keep it positive.
Right,
Let's
right.
Keep up the good work, buddy. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you so much for calling in. I want to go to the next caller, then I want to come back to what Mario said about the dividing, management trying to divide us, because that's a great point. All right, so the next caller is Patricia.
Hi, Richard. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. Hey, I appreciate your passion for the telework. However, I'm a little bit concerned. I'm a nurse. I'm a first responder. We're certainly amongst the group. We are not afforded telework. Obviously, our job can't be done that way, and that's understandable, The concern that I have is, I heard last night on the steward call, there's people who aren't being provided the proper PPE. I work in an institution in CDCR. You came around and visited us out in Kern Valley in Delano. I appreciate that. I do. I mean, you walked into a level 4 institution. Kudos to you. It's not something everybody wants to do. We have guidelines at the front entrance that says you are to do self-screening before you even drive into the premises. Then up at the front entrance, before you walk into grounds, I know that you passed by both of those, so you've seen that when you were there. We have employees who are coming to work symptomatic, which they're not supposed to be doing. They're not being sent home. I can tell you that I tested positive for COVID last night. Employee health is not 24 hours. I called them today and let them know, and I sent them my results from urgent care. I have yet to be called for contact tracing to identify other employees who might have been exposed. So we're just being placed at great risk here. I took some steps today. I made a few phone calls, but I think that certainly something needs to be done for those of us who are first responders. We're going in there to provide care for people, to save lives, but the people who are standing next to us are putting our lives at risk. And I have a big problem with that. I have a real big problem with that.
So is your problem with the PPE not being provided?
No, we have PPE. That was other facilities. I believe that was DMV or EDD that was being done. My problem is that the screening process is not being followed. There's been a directive that you are to self-screen if you're not, and if you are symptomatic, don't come in. And we have people who are coming in. And I know that we have people who've been seen by supervisors coughing all over the place. They were not immediately sent home. We now have 3 different clinical areas that are under an outbreak. So we have a ridiculous amount of employees who are infected with COVID now, myself included. My son is now symptomatic. I think that there needs to be something done when the protocols are not being followed. Our lives should not be in jeopardy by the people that we work with. We should have enough common sense and enough decency to follow that practice. And when somebody doesn't, they need to be held accountable.
So I would ask you to make sure that you inform your job steward and make sure we call.
I am the job steward.
Okay. So, no, that's fine. This is kind of tricky. You got to have a safe work environment. And we have to file grievances when we feel like the environment is not safe. We filed a statewide grievance on the N95. But now, because this pandemic has started up again, they've kind of changed the rules. So it's almost like we want to have a safe environment, but yet they want people to still come to work. And so I don't want to. This is tricky. This is tricky because every agency is doing something a little different. And even though they're supposed to be following the guidelines, these guidelines are changing all the time. So I think before, if you tested positive, they'd say quarantine and stay away from people. But now they reduced those days down. I think from the CDC. Now, why did they? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to add something in that. So Wednesday night at 5 p.m.,
Okay.
I was contacted by custody.
Okay.
They came into the clinic, and I'm grateful for them. Kudos to custody. Thank you. Shout out to them for looking out for medical, because, we don't always work well together.
Okay.
And they came in and said, hey, you know what? We had an outbreak.
Okay.
My CNE was given that same email. Medical was not aware until the next morning, and they did not inform the nursing staff until 9:28 in the morning. There should have been no delay. They should have been just as on it as custody. You know what I mean? She was on her email thread bickering with their bargaining unit chair because she was out of line and not following the contract, but she couldn't get off her ass and make sure that we were safe. I have a problem with that.
With the CNE or with the bargaining chair?
The CNE. I have
Okay.
a problem that she wanted to bicker with my chair, but she couldn't take that same effort to ensure that her staff was safe.
So let me ask you this: you're an RN or an LVN?
I'm an LVN.
LVN. Okay. So I know that particular bargaining chair is doing everything she can to fight.
She is, and you know what? Shout out to Melissa Vartanian. She's a
That's
rock
right.
star.
That's right. So here's what I'll say. Keep working with Melissa, because I know those at the headquarters DMV, they're upset. A lot of people are upset right now over this outbreak because they feel like the union is not doing enough to protect you, and we are doing everything we can to protect you. But we're battling the state of California on a multitude of issues. This one being probably the number one issue outside of the telework. You okay?
Sorry. Yeah, no, I'm good. I have COVID, so
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay, so hold on 1 second. Don't hang up. Hold on. Okay, give her my, what they call it? All right, so I'm having someone text me. Wow. So I want you to text me Patricia at 408
Okay.
408 207 2339, and then I'm gonna share someone's number to you because they're wanting to talk to you.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you for calling in. So,
All right. Thank you for all your help. I
oh,
appreciate it.
you're very welcome. So what I'm trying to do is look through the queue, get all the callers, while also going through my phone at the same time. So hold on 1 second. Okay. So give me 1 second here. Give me 1 second, and I'm sharing Patricia's number with someone who just asked me per number. Okay. All right, I'm trying to go as fast as I can. All right, because a lot of times I can't get to my phone when people are telling me, say this and say that, do this and do that. All right, next caller, Dina Bauman. Hello, Dina.
Hi, thank you for, can you hear me?
Oh, loud and clear.
Okay, thank you for taking my call. I'm a new union member. I've never been a part of a union, so this is all a new experience, but thank you very much for talking and sharing with us so far. Out of morbid curiosity, that $25 and $50 stipend, is that tax-free? Because if they take out taxes, that's nothing. And really, it's nothing, to be truthful.
So, okay.
And the 25, that barely covers a Happy Meal.
So, Dina Bauman, it's taxable. And I'm glad you brought that point up. Because some people wanted the union to take the 50 and 25. $50 for the remote, 25 for the office center. And as Mario talked about, he was impressed that we're not going to let the state of California divide us, because they wanted to pay more money to the remote, $50, which is not a lot of money once you tax it. So you make a great point, but they're trying to divide us. And then when they said, well, if we're going to pay you the same amount of money, then we're going to try to make it closer to $25, because that's how they budgeted the money. Because in my personal opinion, this is how they feel about state employees when it comes to telework, the telework stipend. So you're right, it's nothing. It's kind of a slap in your face. And after so many people are going to work, dealing with the COVID pandemic at work, to just simply settle, to take what they gave you at $50 or $25 is just, it's madness. It's no different than you saying you have a contract and then you decide to give up your money for 2 days of pay, while the person who asked you, Sally kept her money, but she told you to give up your money. See, in the suburbs, they would say, oh, that's not a good deal. In the country, they would say, well, that doesn't sound right. But, you know, in the city, they have another expression. But thank you for calling in.
All right, thank you.
All right. So, next caller, DLC 727, President Linda Martin.
Hi, Richard.
Hi, how are you?
I am doing okay. I just wanted to respond to Patricia.
Okay.
Patricia, I'm a registered nurse with the Department of Public Health, and CDC guidelines has just completely rescinded essential healthcare workers having any time off if we're short-staffed. I just sent you a link to National Nurses United, who are protesting that very thing, that, you know, we deserve to have the protocols in place for nurses because it not only protects us, but it protects the public. The CDC guidelines have just come out. They shortened it to 5 days, but then for essential workers, if you're asymptomatic, they're saying you can just go to work.
Oh, wait. I want to make sure I understand this correctly. For essential workers, if you test for COVID and it's positive, but you don't have any symptoms, you can still go to work?
Yes. Yes, National Nurses United just put out a survey. I sent you the link that you can send to Patricia, because it's an absolute outrage, not only for us, but also for the people that we serve, for the patients we serve.
Okay. So let me make sure I say this correctly. If you test for COVID and you're an essential worker and your test comes back positive, because you're an essential worker and you have no signs, no symptoms, but you still test positive, they still tell you can go to work.
Yes.
All right. Okay. I'm gonna leave it.
It's absolutely atrocious, but yeah, that's what they're saying now. That means exactly what's happening with Patricia can absolutely happen.
Now, I was trying to think with the Sacramento County here, Sacramento County, I thought if you tested positive for COVID, but I didn't ask if you were an essential worker. If you tested positive and you had no symptoms, they say just stay home for 5 days. But if you had symptoms, I think they said stay home for 10 days or for 5 days and until your symptoms cleared up. But I didn't ask if you were an essential worker or not. That's the part I didn't ask about.
Yep,
okay.
because there's such short staffing for healthcare workers. Yeah,
short staffing.
That's
what
they're doing, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. I mean, how many people that you can infect?
Well, all right. So, all right.
That's a whole lot of crazy.
Well, I know a lot. I know how the heavens feel about this situation. And now I'm getting... All right, let me stop. Let me shut my mouth. All right, thank you for calling in. And so now we're going to go to DLC 789, President Eileen Bauman.
Thank you.
You know I said it correctly.
Thank you. Thank you for taking my call, and I'd like to agree with you about your MRC staff. They're wonderful. They help me out so much, all of them. All of you guys, your staff, the executive board, everything thank you for everything that you helped me throughout this half a year. I want to go back to the COVID when in March, when the governor first wrote his letter, when he was releasing everybody from work, it was like people 62 years of age or older, and these were the first groups of people 62 and over, and the people who had medical complications were gone.
Right.
And in my department, they're still gone. Did they rescind that? And was that for all departments or only EDD specific? Because it did come from the governor, because I have people in my DLC who are over 60 and over 70 who are still at work and they're leaving the elders at work and sending the younger people home to telework. So that is something I want to, look at and wonder if the 62 year and older,
I don't know.
You guys are all stuck.
Right. So
You don't know?
Yeah, that question I don't know, because I thought every agency was doing something a little different. Because I thought the governor was leaving up to the agencies to figure out how they wanted to handle this telework. Just like the telework agreement, some agencies are already doing a telework agreement, a permanent telework agreement, and different agencies are paying different amounts of money. So I'd imagine they're doing the same thing on this pandemic situation.
Okay, now going to the pandemic, my building is on an outbreak because they got 3 or more people with a 14-day span, okay? And then my same people are going to a different DLC and going working over there, and now they are on an outbreak. So these people are going every day overtime to another facility and coming back every day. And so we got a notice on the 5th, on the 10th, and today. On the 5th and on the 10th, they say it's a 3 or more people is an outbreak. And today, and within a 14-day span, and it's only been a 7-day span. Today's email said, oh, we just have an outbreak. But it's the same people who are going back and forth to this building. So, I'm getting ready to send you an email and send it off to OSHA, send it off to the EDD, Rita Sanez. And, because I asked for the air filters, portable ones to be placed. Can the overtime be stopped? I don't want the overtime to be stopped because these people need the overtime and they're releasing all your 1099. So everybody needs a 1099. But I'll be sending you an email on that because that's ridiculous. The same people are going every day. They're working 8 hours in my building, going to work 4 hours in another building, got that building infected and keep coming back. So it's just staying. I did contact the DLC president of that building and to let him know because he knows. So, anyway, so it's only been 2 days with another notice. And this time they didn't put outbreak. They didn't even put that. Or they didn't even put the CDC title on it either. Everybody's frozen. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
I'm not going to comment. I'm going to keep my comments to myself on this issue. All right. Because I know different agencies are doing different things, and I know people are really, really upset. And like I said, we have filed these unfair practice charges, or ULPs, repeatedly over this issue. We filed a statewide grievance, and some people say it's still not enough, Richard. All right, next caller, DLC 751, President Christina Ebbett.
Good evening. I just sent you via email, Richard, the AFL from January 8th. It states HCPs who have tested positive for SARS-CoV-2 and are asymptomatic may return to work immediately without isolation and without testing. HCPs who have been exposed and are asymptomatic may return to work immediately without quarantining and without testing. This isn't just for nursing. The medical facilities, as CalVet and apparently DSH and some of CDCR, are using it to where any staff that work for the facility can come back to work because we're in critical staffing situation. And we have this came out on the 8th. On Monday, they said that all staff could return to work that were asymptomatic. On Tuesday, they said it's for critical staffing. That's what the AFL says. And we're in critical staffing throughout both, as far as I know, both facilities, because Napa State is almost total COVID. I believe there's only 2, maybe 3 sections that do not have COVID at Napa State. And Yountville, fortunately, we're still in single numbers. We're below 10 right at the moment, but bringing the people back with COVID positive testing is going to jack our numbers up beyond belief. We've had, over the weekend in Napa County, 795 positive tests over the weekend. From yesterday to today, for the Napa County, whole county was 300, almost 300. I think it was 296 more positive people. And then we're sending them into work at the facilities, or, they're going shopping and everything. Shopping's not a problem. We can't do anything about it, but coming into the facilities to work is an issue. And this came from CDPH. It's a temporary fix due to critical staffing is how they're swinging it. It's only supposed to last until February 1st.
Okay. But you think going to February 1st is still too long? It's putting people's lives at risk too?
I don't think we should have brought anybody back if you're asymptomatic or not.
Okay.
There's CDPH and a couple of other places have put out information that you are contagious when you're asymptomatic, and you're contagious up to 4 days prior to having symptoms. So you may test positive now and come to work and then get symptoms 3-4 days later. We're endangering all kinds of people. You come to work, and if you don't wear your N95 mask, you'll get a letter of instruction. That's what they told the staff. Anybody that doesn't comply with wearing an N95 mask will get a letter of instruction.
Have they been properly fitted for the N95 mask?
Yountville did fit testing last year and the year before. They used to do it annually, but then when COVID first hit, there wasn't enough supplies to do it. And now they're doing it when you do employee health. Because I just did my employee health on Monday, and they asked me about it. I don't know how we can stop this.
So here's, all right, I'll keep my comments to myself. No, because I'm looking at all this money and billions in surplus, and by the love of God, if you say that this is a historical situation and we want people to be safe in America, and you have the money, then what is the problem?
Well, it says you can bring in registry and use volunteers too, but we're already with registry, and we have already worked our volunteers into the ground.
Exactly.
And now they're not letting you go. Previously, for instance, I work in an office, but previously when the food service staff was really short-staffed, I could go out and help in the dining rooms. And now they're saying, oh no, you can't have staff do that because it's not in their job classification. Even if you don't have a problem going out or working in the pot room or working, doing something to help the other staff, they're saying, no, the staff can't do that anymore. So you're saying, work yourself to death, come to work half dead and finish the job.
Well, we're gonna stay positive. We're gonna stay motivated. Write this word down. We're gonna stay positive. We're gonna stay motivated. We're gonna stay inspired. And we won't lose faith. So 1 for positive, 2 for motivated, 3 for inspired, and we won't lose faith. We'll get through this. I may not have all the answers right now, but give me a day or two. I
sent you the link for the whole letter, Richard. It's in your email.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, you're very welcome. Okay, next caller. DOC 770, Secretary Treasurer, Derek Rogue. How are you?
Good evening, Richard, Mr. President. Good evening, Local 1000. I am doing great. How are you tonight?
I'm doing great.
Great. I hope my connection is well. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I see you. I see you loud and clear. I see you.
Okay. So I have a question. I want to change gears here just a little bit. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to break away from this talk. I know this is very important, but I'm hearing a lot of grievances on the air tonight. And I want to go back to our last side letter agreement. And I remember it because it was probably one of the most humiliating days for me as a steward when I had to go into my work site and I had to report to my members of the agreement that I didn't make, I didn't bargain for in good faith, and I know a lot of others disagree with it. And I want to ask, going forward in our next bargaining session when contract bargaining begins, because I know there's a lot on the line. Okay, let me tell you, especially with the times we're in right now, I'm hearing a lot of people who come on here and they're grieving on air, but the problem is, guys, you have to remember, this language, it's been passable for too long. And I did not like the previous method they used to getting your grievances out. You used to have to attend town halls, and if you didn't come up to the podium, it's kind of like your voice didn't matter. All of our voices should matter in this. So Richard, my question is, I know, like you said earlier, a lot of people believe our contract is up this year. Sadly, the sad news is it's not. We have one more year to go. When we begin bargaining next year, will there be a different method than these? Because we used to do these town halls, and it was just, like I said, it was just a cluster of a mess. It was more of like how we're going to help others versus our own members, the people that work so hard. And I want to see the membership thrive. And one way to do that, I personally feel, and I don't know how others would feel about this, is what methods can we take going forward to ensure that we get the strongest contract in our next session? What can we do? Thank you.
Okay, Derek, thanks for calling in. The first thing I would say, build membership. The second thing, the town halls that have been used in the past, I'm not so sure we'll still do those in the future. I'm still a big social media person, and I think bringing people onto social media and doing things out in the open so everyone's voice is heard, I think that's really important. Now, I wish I could tell you that this pandemic will be over by this summer. I don't know. I just don't know. We would think it'd be over till we could all meet in big gatherings and get momentum going into 23. But I think you start building momentum now by talking and communicating with others through email. Some people say the emails are not very personable. I think doing Zoom is very personable, which is as close as you can get to having in-person meetings. You can have all the town halls that you want, but as long as you keep doing the same thing as far as the language in the contracts, then your contract won't mean anything. Remember I keep saying the 5.11 dignity clause? As long as the state of California is the final decision maker on your dignity, you'll never have anything. You'll never have your dignity because they'll decide when you have it and when you don't. Which is ironic because we were just talking about the pandemic and how your dignity is being violated in an unsafe workplace. And how they're asking you to come in, even when you're sick. We have to do things differently. So you can probably still do the town halls, but you have to bring more people. You can get more people through social media than you can through a town hall. And I also believe that doing videos more often. And I have a folder of all the contract issues that people send me, and I just stack it all up. And some of it, is very particular to a certain bargaining unit, and other issues are very open to all the bargaining units. But I would tell anyone, write down the problems you have on our current contract and send it to me, and I'm going to store it. And I'm going to make sure those issues are addressed. And I cannot tell you this with enough passion and energy, positive energy, motivated energy. As long as I'm your chief negotiator, you can guarantee yourself the fact that we will never give in to the state of California. We're not giving in. We're going to negotiate and get the best contract possible for you because that's what you pay your money for. Well, I pay money to an organization that's not going to fight for you to the very end, every day out. And that's going to be the big difference. But I think people already know that about me. You see it that I didn't settle for that 50 and 25 for the Telework agreement. I didn't settle when they said that everyone had to be vaccinated. I didn't settle. I didn't do what the state told me to do. I said, we're going to negotiate this in good faith. And we're going to negotiate this next contract in good faith. And should we reach a legal impasse, and we take a strike vote, and we have to go on strike, we will go on strike. And this fourth largest economy on earth will be shut down. There will be no state of California. Now, we pray that that doesn't happen. But sometimes when enough is enough, and you can't take it anymore, and you've done all and gave all for way, 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 way too long, and you feel your life doesn't matter anymore, then you have to make a decision. Am I going to let the state of California continue to beat me down and bully me around and treat me with no respect at all? Or am I going to stand up for myself? Am I going to defend myself? Am I going to defend my family? For once in my life, I'm going to make a stand. And that's where we're at here at Local 1000. The days of the status quo of bending over, bending our backs, and thanking these politicians, those days are over. No one's going to push us around and kick us in the back and tell us that it's sunny outside when you know it's rainy and it's cold and foggy and smoggy. Those days are over. And I'm not going to get all emotional and rah, 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 rah. No, not tonight. No, tonight I'm going to tell you matter of fact. The good old days of pushing us around, pushing Local 1000 around, those days are over. We're going to find somebody else new to bully. You're not going to bully us anymore. All right, next caller, DLC 772, President Mary Dela Cruz. Oh, we went to her, right? Oh, I'm sorry. So, Vincent Green.
Good evening, Richard. How are you?
Oh, I'm okay. How are you?
Doing good. So listen, I have 2 points to make, and one I'm going to push back on a little bit. This was about the caller that was just before me talking about the town halls.
Okay.
All right. And I was at those town halls, a lot of those, because I was on the bargaining team. And I can tell you absolutely what was said was incorrect and not right. What those town halls were set up to do was to get the voice of the members to see what we wanted or what they wanted us to address at bargaining. And I am more than happy to talk to that gentleman about what his experience was, because maybe it was one that I was not at, but I was at more than 85% of them up and down the state. So, I just want to make sure that we're giving right information and true information, and we're not giving wrong information to excite people, because that is not what happened on those town halls. And I'm a little offended as a bargaining team member for someone to turn around and say that that's what we done when we know that wasn't true. My second point is this. Richard, I've listened to you all night long, and I understand, I do, that there's some things that you're not going to speak on and you're not going to say because of the climate, right? I get that. But what Christina was talking about, sir, I think you have to say something, okay? And the reason why I say that is because Christina works up in the Veterans Home up in Yountville. And for people who don't know what those homes are, they are long-term care facilities that take care of veterans toward the end of their lives so they can live in dignity. And I can tell you from experience that when something happens, like the shooting that was 2-3 years ago, that made national news. Not because it was the state of California, but because it was veterans. Because it was veterans. And I think what Christina is trying to say is not only is it about state workers, but it's also about the veterans that she takes care of. Because if they are asymptomatic and they're coming to work, they are dealing with those veterans every single day. And again, these veterans are not, Richard, they're not like you. They're not 51, 52. They're 60, 70, 80 years old. And they have health problems already. So, I would urge you to not stay silent, to say something to whoever you have a contact with to say, look, you have veterans out there, because I guarantee you, if there's an outbreak up in Yountville and members begin to pass away,
right?
Those veterans begin to pass away, it's going to be in the news.
And it's
going to be in the news.
And that's up there in Yountville, correct?
That's in Yountville, but it's not only that. We have 8 homes. We have Yountville, we have Fresno, we have Redding, we have West LA, we have Chula Vista. We have Lancaster, Ventura. We've got 8 homes up and down the state. And if CDPH is saying for them to go back to work, even if you're asymptomatic, like I said, I understand that you may not want to say something. I get that. I do. And this is not an attack on you, but I am pleading with you as a leader of this group. There's got to be something that you can actually mention to somebody and say, you might want to take a second look at this, especially in the veterans' homes. And I'm not saying that they are more important. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying for a mission statement that we have at CalVet is to take care of our veterans so they can live decently toward the end of their lives, and serve them the way they served us. It is not a good look. And like I said, let an outbreak happen. It's going to be in the news. And I'm not talking about local news. I'm talking about national news. It is going to be in the news. So, sir, I would urge you to not sit silent on this one, to do whatever we need to do to make sure that what the workers up there have the right PPE, to make sure that they are getting tested, to make sure that if they have symptoms, then they need to stay home. They just do. They need to stay home because it's not, it's not only are they putting themselves at risk, but now they're putting the people at risk that have already been at risk a long time ago and put their lives on the line. Does that make sense?
No, listen. It makes perfectly good sense. And, I'm usually not quiet on anything. The veterans home, of course that's going to be an emotional issue for me because I am a veteran. But I know headquarters DMV is very, very upset. And I know those behind the prison walls are very, very, everyone is very upset. And
but you have to start somewhere, sir.
No,
you have to start somewhere.
Hold on.
Right?
Right. No, you're right. And so when I get quiet on somebody, that means I'm getting ready to do something. So just because I'm quiet right now and I'm not being so outspoken right now, and I said, give me a day or two. I said, give me a day or two. Because something will happen. I'm just not showing my hand right now.
I appreciate your time, sir.
Okay, thank you for calling in and sending that message home. I deeply appreciate that. All right. Next caller, Kelly Newby. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Kelly. Can you hear me? Can you unmute yourself? Hi, Kelly. Kelly Newby, can you please unmute yourself? Okay, so we'll try to come back to Kelly. Let's go to Mary Dela Cruz again. DOC 772 President Mary Dela Cruz.
Thank you, Richard, for taking my call. I just need to, number one, address Derek.
Okay.
Derek, you are 100% correct about these town halls. Let me tell you, I sat on the bargaining team as well, along with Vince. Vince would know. I was there at his wedding when he had his wedding. So, I was part of that too. And let me tell you, the information that gets gathered at the town hall, it's, yes, we listen to everybody. It's what happens behind the scenes. As everybody knows, it's never been transparent. It's never been out there public. So my recommendation, Richard, suggestion I should say, is I love your Survey Monkeys. I love how you gather that information and you're transparent. You put it up there. You put up what people said, what the majority vote was. Perhaps not having a town hall, maybe doing how you gather the information from members so that way, we believe in what your transparency that you bring back to us and you show us what the members have voted. I like that concept. But, I was part of the bargaining team as well, and you're spot on, Derek. So that's that issue. The second issue that I want to talk about is I am CDPH. I work for CDPH. I'm a health facility evaluator nurse. I investigate. I go to the veterans' homes. We have 15 district offices throughout the states. So up in Christina's area, Youngsville, their CDPH goes up there. And I hope they're calling in daily to CDPH and complaining and filing complaints. We go to the one here in Fresno. And I'm going to tell you something, Richard, there is an issue. And we should stand with you, not pushing you, but with you, marching on the governor's office, because he's ultimately the one that should put this thing to a halt. And, thank you, first of all, for your service and all other veterans. But, Richard, this isn't coming from a great place. Somebody's grandmother and mother, I think, value as equally as a veteran. And you know what? When we go into the nursing homes, where all the elderly that are living their golden years as well, You know what, Richard? They were dying. It was national news. They were stacking the bodies on the back of the buildings because they couldn't get them out to the corners fast enough. You know, so this issue is a pandemic, and the governor needs to address it. You know what? They fired nurses because they didn't get vaccinated, but now you can go back to work even though you're COVID positive. And it's a proven fact, Richard. I could be COVID positive, asymptomatic, and be a super spreader, spreading all that COVID to everybody, even though I'm asymptomatic. That is a given fact. So I'm confused on this new regulation that came out that if even though you test positive, you can go to work. Because that makes no sense with the nurses we just fired for not getting vaccinated.
Well, yes. So, see, when I get quiet on somebody and I have to do something, you know, against somebody or take a strong stance, I normally don't tell you ahead of time what I'm getting ready to do to you. This is a very delicate, tricky, and emotional situation. And this is why, you know, I did not want to show favor to other veterans and be biased towards the veterans over someone else, because I'm trying to show equal love and respect, which is the same thing we're trying to do with this telework survey. Equal love and respect to everyone, whether you work from home or you work from office center or remote center, the money's still the same for you. I'm gonna get some answers on this. Something doesn't sound right, and that's why I don't want to talk too quickly, but something does not sound right on this pandemic. And so when people said years ago that something didn't sound right about the pandemic, people criticized them. And now this pandemic has gone on for so long, either people were tired or the money's done run out. I don't know how the money can run out because we can print money out of thin air here in America. Here in America, we can print money out of thin air. Your money's not backed by anything but by perception. So you can print as much as possible as long as someone will accept it. We're going to dig into this issue and we're going to figure this out. We're going to stay positive, motivated, inspired, and we're not going to lose hope. We're not going to let the hysteria of this pandemic drive us out of our minds. We are not going to allow that to happen. All right, it's 7:57. We're going to shut this down tonight. And I want everyone to get some rest. Wait, I see Kelly Newby. Let's go to Kelly Newby and then we're going to shut it down. Kelly Newby. Hi, Kelly. Can you unmute yourself? All right. You know what? We're shutting down tonight. We're not going to 8:30 or 9:30, whatever crazy thing I did last week. So tonight, 1 hour and a half. Stay tuned. Don't give up. January 12th, 2022, I'm Richard Lewis Brown. Thank you for your time, and I'll talk to you soon. Good night.